So we're here with my supervisor. My supervisor was Small Light Security. This is my boss. This is my honcho. His name is Ian. And so we're having this argument about what comes first, woman or man. Everything comes from a woman, period. You have to be birthed by her. There's even trees that produce the same species called daughter cells. Everything comes from a woman. He's saying that he thinks, well, God's a man. And
no, I think it's what I believe.
Oh, that's what he believes. And I'm saying, no, God is definitely a woman because you have to be produced from the female first. You cannot be produced from a man. We can't make them. We have to come from them. We're second order of life.
No one said we reproduce from a man. No, yeah, actually, we do reproduce from a man if God creates a man and a woman.
Well, he's saying that. Well, he's going. Well, so what's your belief system? How do you?
I believe God created man first, then He created a woman. I'm not saying we came from a rib specifically, but He created a woman second. That doesn't mean she's less. It doesn't take away the equality. That just means that God created man, He created a woman, and the human race.
Where do you get your doctrine from? Science, or do you get it from us studying as humans?
It's based
investigating.
It's based off everything.
It's based on what?
Based on everything.
Okay, let's go to the ATM. Hold on. So I'm gonna be by him, but I'm gonna take a short break. So I'm gonna give you a short run. His study is based on what I'm telling you is based on. It's based on the study of our doctrine of cataclysm or Catholic, Christian, and the doctrine that women were created from a rib as opposed to created from God, because our evidence in biology proves that women were actually created from God and that we had to come second because she has to give birth first. And so when a woman gives birth, there's no such thing as a rib. There's no such thing as any of that we see as far as, when we talk about. There's only such thing as her giving birth. She waits 9 months and she gives birth. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it is, and it's the way it'll continue to be. There was a time and period with Constantine, even before Constantine, where, there was, like, my college professor showed me the Paleolithic period, this is our theory, when men started when we had to hunt because the women were pregnant, we started saying, you know what, no more queens, we want kings now. And even in the Bible, you had people that worship the female gods, the Asherahs. And so it's not like it's unknown, okay? Men have worshipped women in the past, or had women for deities in the past, I should say. It changed because what happened was men had to do that were involved in. Why is he calling right now? I had a phone call. Excuse me. I'm gonna turn him off. Okay. It changed because men had to do tasks that were involved in labor, and so like if I'm gonna go out and do labor, and especially if I'm going to do labor and maybe some guys cheating with you or something, then, of course there's feelings there. And so, of course, you can see how our psychological would go, wait a minute, no. I can see how that. It's just a revolution because we're both equal. And so for women to think that we're first and think that we were just slaves at one time, I can actually understand how that might have went in our human period. Kind of like how the black and white thing went on this planet, how black people were the planet and then white people had their chance because it had to be equilibrium decision. Same way as maybe women ruled the planet at one time and men will rule for a time, just to get equilibrium. Because there can't be equilibrium without both understanding. And women, if you don't think they ruled first, then goddamn, look at the ocean. Women give birth, look at fish. I mean, you can look at anything. Women control everything except for humans, okay? I mean, you talk about lions, even lions, you have multiple females and you have the male who's partly the hunter, but the female controls the job and she's just there because it's different psychology. They work off instinct, okay? But if you look at as far as all plant life is daughter cells or it's either sexual. So I mean, the female is definitely first. She's dominant this planet. And that's the line we're going from. So yeah. Well, I said some things.
You got anyone on there?
Not yet, but it'll get it'll record, yeah. And so that's the conversation we're having.
My belief, and this isn't based off just like man, like what man has said. There's also scientific evidence to suggest that man did come first.
There's none. Well, name it. We're here. Name it.
I can't name it on the spot.
Well, then there's none. There's none. There's none at all. There's not a single piece of scientific evidence that ever suggests you're making up stuff. And wait a minute. If there is, then I want to Google it or name it.
There is.
The only scientific evidence I can use scientific evidence that shows the Exodus.
Okay, I'll tell you straight up.
Okay.
The seed that goes into women comes from us. That suggests it's possible that God created man, and then He created woman, and then they procreated.
Well, the seed that comes from okay, we'll take what he said. So the seed that comes from woman goes into her. That's only because she creates us. Now, if she doesn't give birth to us, then we can never have that seed. It's like the chicken and the egg. Hold on, it's like the chicken and the egg. If the chicken, it's like the chicken and the egg. If the chicken doesn't come first, then you can't have a fucking egg. Because the egg will never get produced without the chicken. The chicken holds the egg within her. She holds it within her body. So it's like the actual organism. And there's actually like the amoeba. We have organisms that actually produce from, I guess. Okay, so let me tell you how life goes.
No, wait. You're basically suggesting that God can't create man first.
Don't go back to that conversation.
No.
You were on science. Now you want to go. Now you want to go to luck.
God and science.
We're not going to do science and luck.
It's not luck.
No. You're on. No, wait.
It's not.
You came from science. You said if we had this now, you don't want to go to God and go. You're trying to change the argument.
God and science go together.
I'm not gonna let you do that.
They go together.
No,
they go together.
Brian,
they go together.
You're changing the argument.
They go together. No, it's not. It's the same argument. God is 100%.
You have no argument.
God is 100%.
I'm on live. You have no
God
argument.
is 100%.
Stop. You have no argument. And you think I'm dumb enough to sit here and let you change the argument?
It's not changing the argument. It's not changing it at all.
So our first argument was this: that
means you don't believe in God.
if a woman, if a man could fuck a girl. Excuse me, if a man could have sex with a woman and produce it, we must have came first. No. She produces it so we can do that. Because at first it was women just producing it with women. That's why they're lesbians. I mean, well, I don't want to say that. I do believe that's why it's easier for females to engage in homosexual activity than it is for men. Because we have standards and they don't. That's more proof to my point. Because that's why they can do it. Because they're original. They're the prototype. We're the second. We have to set a standard. So it's like, we're like, ooh, I don't.
That is your opinion.
It's not an opinion.
It is opinion. It is an opinion.
But
if you don't believe in God,
she came first. I promise you, she came first.
You can't prove it. It's not proof.
I can prove it.
It can be suggested by science.
I can prove what I can prove what God. I can prove how God basically.
You don't believe in God if
no. God left the science to see that she came first. Everything comes from a woman.
Then why when I'm bringing up God, you're disregarding it when God and science go together? No, God and science go together. No,
of course they go together.
My point is, you know what I'm saying? God created. This is what my belief is. God created man. God created woman.
Yeah, all the time in the world.
They procreated. You have the human race. Okay? Now, if you're saying, well, a guy has to come from a woman first, so that can't work, that's suggesting that you don't believe God has the power to create.
That's not. I'm not saying I'm suggesting that the people that were in charge wanted male chauvinism.
I'm not talking about that at all. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about history. I'm not talking about that.
You don't interrupt.
I'm talking about God.
Don't interrupt.
I don't care about what they did.
And we're in charge. Were male chauvinists, and so they had to concoct. They had to concoct a story. The story was that hey, boy, maybe the ribs are different, and she has more or less because she's dominant.
I don't care about that story.
Everything on this planet comes from a woman. Whether it's a plant, whether it's a monkey, whether it's a fucking seahorse, even that male seahorse that carries the egg, he gets it from the girl. Then when the girl makes the egg, I love this conversation. She gives it to him to carry around for like whatever. Everything comes from her.
You're bringing up something.
It's so sad that men walk around thinking they're first instead of having respect for that beautiful. I worship women, but you have to have respect for her. I mean, it's not like I don't. It's not like I'm bowing down to women because women are. They're humans. Like when I thought God was a man, I didn't worship men. Well, of course I'm not a man. I'm a little different. But it's still just because I mix my beliefs and change. It's not that. It's just simply because, we gotta respect women, but.
No, it's not saying not about respecting women. You can have the belief that men came first and still respect women. I'm not talking about culture or societal things. That's a culture and societal issue. We're talking about creation. Period. It doesn't matter what stories people came up with. I don't care about those stories. I don't care if Constantine did whatever because men were dominant. They made up stories. I don't care about that. I'm talking about the fact that men implant into women the seed.
Because he doesn't know biology. That's so simple. Well, he's going about that. The only reason we do that is because we have evolutionized far enough to do that. There are women plants, women, animals, even animals. I mean, that produce without men. But the reason I think that we grow, I think that the clique grows into it because women wanted more.
They're female, not women.
It's because of her mind. Because she evolution is has to do with her mind.
There's only one woman.
The only reason that we could fuck a girl is because she got tired of producing with herself. So she like thought up some shit.
She can't produce
not from human. Not from a human level. From like Okay, so if you look at the cosmos and you look at Neil deGrasse Tyson, he explains how we all come from the sun. The sun was an explosion or whatever, it's a star. Then all the planets got produced from the sun from an explosion, and we all organized around the sun. But everything that the sun is made of, we also have in our bodies. It's the same production. So basically, we all evolutionized from the sun when there was. Okay, we're about to get next. Okay,
no,
cool.
it doesn't mean we evolutionized for the sun.
So my point, hold on, I might get on that point.
I might get on
that point. So my point from that is that since we all came from that, then women came first in the production at that level to start producing. But it's just a point where man got tired of that shit and said, you know what, I'm the man and no more. And it's not true. It's bullshit. It's chauvinistic. And why would you think of her saying that's your mom? You were really. I mean, what kind of guy? What kind of guy? I mean, that's why. I mean, it's like what kind of guy wants to worship another fucking man? I don't worship no fucking man. I worship a man.
I mean, God's not a man or a woman.
I mean,
God's not a man or a woman. I believe he's a man.
I mean, there's some points here. Like,
I don't believe God's a man or a
women
woman.
can do it because women come from women. That's why the lesbian. I mean, there's different. Men don't. We're competitive. We come second. We don't worship men. That's why it's backwards. But we got so mad at women at a certain time period that we started saying that I was a man.
That's
but,
instinct.
No. It's not. Okay, you call it whatever you want to call it. We don't. Men do not worship other men. Period. We just fucking don't. We were made not to. God made us like that. That's why we come from women. We were secondary in the order to be competitive to fight for her. That's why God. I don't even. I'm definitely publishing this one. Bye bye. My teeth are yellow.